What should you be practicing on the guitar? Well, the answer is it kind of depends. Sort of depends on where you are in your life and what you're hoping to accomplish with the instrument. So we'll take a look at a number of different possibilities. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video and I'll give you some general tips for everybody who's learning how to play. What are your goals? Do you want to be a professional guitar player someday? Or are you just hoping to join a band and do this as a hobby? Maybe you just want to do it around the campfire and have some fun with your friends and family. That's okay too. Your style. Do you want to play acoustic guitar or electric guitar? Do you like rock or jazz or any other genre for that matter? Do you want to play just cover songs or are you hoping to make original material? All these things kind of come into play. Your age. Are you a young person who's hoping to do this for their career and you want to take it really far? Or maybe you're an older individual who just wants to play some chords and strum and relax and have a good time enjoying learning something new. Time restraints. How much time do you have to practice? If you're really young, you probably have all day long. I used to play guitar for 24 hours a day whenever I was a kid. But maybe you're a grown-up like me, where you have responsibilities. Maybe you have a family, you have a house, you have a mortgage, you have a job. How much time do you really have to practice and to dedicate to playing? So let's say you're just starting out. There's a lesson on the channel for the 12 things for beginner guitar players to focus on. You can go ahead and take a look at that, but here's the bullet points. Posture and balance. You have to learn how to balance the instrument properly. Learning your open chords. You should be practicing learning all of the open chords on the guitar and implementing them into playing songs. You should be focusing on chord transitions, smoothly going from one chord to the other. There's a lot of lessons on this channel that will help you learn how to do that. Strumming. Strumming can be a challenge. There's a lesson on the channel that will show you how to strum artfully and make the guitar sound beautiful and pretty when you strum it. Also, the songs that I teach on the channel have strumming patterns in the lessons, so you can find those and sort of learn how to navigate through the chord changes. Learning the notes. This is important also. There are a couple lessons on the channel that will show you how to learn all the notes on the fretboard very quickly. Pentatonic scales. This is probably the alpha and the omega when it comes to playing guitar solos, especially for beginner guitar players. Look for the playlist for pentatonic scales on the channel. There's probably 50 lessons on pentatonic scales. Make sure to keep an eye out for my first full-length guitar course, which is coming out soon. It's going to be called the 3-Degree Complete Beginner Guitar Method. And much like the lesson channel, as your guitar sensei, it follows the karate belt system. There's a white belt, yellow belt, orange belt, and you can buy the lessons in different sections. You can buy the white belt first, and then the yellow belt, the orange belt, buy them all together. And when that's finished, I'm going to make the next course, which is going to be a complete intermediate guitar course to take you from the intermediate level all the way to the advanced level. I'm really excited about this. There's a couple hundred videos already in motion for the complete beginner guitar course for the white belt, yellow belt, and orange belt sections. Learn the 12-bar blues. This is a great way to get started playing. You can jam with other people right away. Really important. Try to learn some all-time guitar riffs. Top Led Zeppelin riffs, etc. This is a great way to learn snippets, to start learning little bits and pieces to gain your confidence and to learn how parts of songs work. Power chords. Learning how to play power chords across the guitar neck is really important. Again, there's plenty of lessons on the lesson channel to show you how to do that. Learning to play a complete song is a really big deal. Just go to drewbentley.com. You'll find chord charts that have the diagrams, strumming suggestions about how to play the songs. It has the lyrics, it has the chords, it has the chart, and also the lesson video included all in one. Learning to play guitar solos. Just getting started, getting your feet wet with playing guitar solos. Look for pentatonic lesson number 1. Practice your rhythm playing. Rhythm playing is really overlooked. We all want to play guitar solos from the get-go, but learning to play great rhythm guitar later might lead to a lot of money in the future. If you're enjoying today's discussion on what you should be practicing on the guitar, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. And in the comment section down below, you'll find links to my websites and other guitar resources. So let's say you're at the next step of your development and your goal is to get into a band. You should be learning the tunes inside and out, learn the entire set list to the best of your ability so you have it sort of memorized on autopilot. You want to just eat those songs. You need to practice the show. You need to practice playing through the show as the first priority of your practicing, because that's what you're going to be doing on stage. It doesn't matter how well you can noodle if you can't do the thing when you're actually on stage and you're supposed to be playing in a show. You need to get your gear together. So that's a giant topic that I need to discuss at length on this lesson channel. Gear is really important. You need to make sure everything works well, that you have a checklist, that you know what to bring when you're going to the show. Like I have a very specific checklist on my phone that I like sort of the little green check mark. I put that on every single item so I don't forget anything, because there's nothing worse than showing up without something. Make sure all of your gear works. Do a practice trial run at home. Set everything up and turn everything on. See how long it takes you to do it, and get a system together of where to put things in your car and also how to pack them properly. As far as what gear to get, that's a gigantic, humongous subject, and we could talk about that for a month. But make sure the gear you have, make sure it all works properly and you have what you need to do the job. Keep learning about music theory. With all of these songs that you're learning, the more you know, the better. It's good to know how they work and why they work, and that way you can kind of put your own little fills in and do your own moments in the songs that are yours because they're proper, and you can have your own personality infused in the songs a little bit. And it's just good in general to understand the instrument. It's kind of really super fun to learn music theory. You need to learn the basics of chords, scales, and arpeggios. These are the building blocks of music, sort of piggybacking on the music theory concept, but in application, applying these to your guitar. You should learn how to play scales comfortably, start soloing with them. There's a whole bunch of scales to learn. The most important one first is the pentatonic scale. There's a bunch of lessons on this channel about the pentatonic scale. You should learn your major scales. There's one specific video that's really great for that, the 7 major scale patterns. Take a look for that. You should learn how to begin to improvise with these scales and to create guitar solos. As far as chords go, once you get past your basic chords, maybe take a look at the caged system. There is a bunch of videos on this channel. Look for the playlist for caged. You can learn how to play the caged system. That's a huge deal. It will help you grow immensely. Arpeggios are big too. Arpeggios are another building block of guitar playing. Just keep learning about these basic fundamental ideas. It'll help you be a better player, and it's an awful lot of fun. You might want to start focusing on the business side of things. Even if you're not the band leader, it's important to know how much money you can get paid for the gigs. Keep track of what you are getting paid. Maybe you're going to incorporate and become an LLC for your gig money. That's not a bad idea at all. Keep learning about the business side of it. Focus on learning how to network with other people. Go to jam sessions and create a network of musicians that you know. The better businessman you are, the better you're going to do, even as an amateur guitar player playing in a band. It's good to have a good business acumen, know your way around business. Okay, so let's assume you're crazy enough to do this for your living. It's a great job, but you have to be really super motivated and be a self-starter. But hey, somebody's got to do it. I'm doing it. You can do it too. Make sure you look for the lesson about what it takes to be a professional guitar player. I talk at length about what you need to do to get prepared to be a pro. But here's some ideas of what you should be practicing as a professional guitar player. You should learn how to read music. First off, if you're going to teach guitar, I've been teaching guitar for 26 years. If you can't read music, you really can't teach guitar very well. It would be a bad thing for you not to be able to read music. Reading charts is even more important. If you're going to play in wedding bands, or you're going to just get on stage and have to learn a bunch of music very quickly, you should be able to read charts. You should be able to look at a jazz chord chart and be able to play through it, or any chord chart for that matter, Stevie Wonder songs, whatever, and have a well enough understanding of chords to be able to read through those charts. Along the same lines, your chord knowledge needs to improve. You have to learn not only the basic cowboy chords and the caged system, but also how add 9, 6, and sus chords work. Learn those across the entire guitar neck. Learn how to play 7th chords, major, minor, and dominant across the entire guitar neck. Have an understanding of 13th chords, 9th chord, 11th chords, the extensions, and also how altered chords work as well, and how to put those into chord progressions, the unrecognized chord progressions, recognize keys, recognize standard like 6-2-5-1s, things like that. So the more you know about chords, the better. Continuing on with what I was just talking about, chords, scales, and arpeggios at the next level, very important. With chords, you're learning the cowboy chords, the caged system, add 9, 6, and sus, 7th chords, 9th chords, 11th chords, 13th chords, altered chords, chord progressions, how to transpose between keys, that sort of thing. With scales, you have major and minor under your belt. Maybe you're going to learn how to play the rest of the modes. Maybe you're going to learn how to play harmonic minor or the jazz melodic minor modes, the blues scale, chromaticism. There's lots of things you can do to keep improving your scale knowledge. Never stop trying to learn, but make it fun when you're doing it. For arpeggios, you should learn how to play an arpeggio system across the entire guitar neck and be able to interlace those quickly and rapidly and play in the same position to be able to play through jazz tunes without changing position at all, and be able to play through all those chords, and then also learn how to do all the arpeggios as substitutes as well when you're playing the jazz chord changes. Arpeggios are also really fun when it comes to just flat out wailing and doing metal stuff too, so that's also a fun factor. With music theory, you can keep growing and learning with that as well. Maybe get a college level harmony book to start with. Learn about 4-part writing, learn about counterpoint, composition. There's so much you can learn with music theory. It's an endless, fun thing to engage in. Make sure you're open-minded. Learn as many genres as you possibly can. My favorite guitar players are a blend of all those different genres. If you listen to Bold Horizon, the most recent record I made, it's jazz, it's blues, or it's rock, or it's maybe a classical sort of construction. Like, it's hard to say what it is because I'm influenced by so many different things that all those different styles come out. Keep working on improvisation stuff. You can never get too good at guitar solos. Make sure you go on the channel and take a look at all the videos I have on there. I've got some more advanced guitar soloing concepts on there. It's also important for you to start to try to write music. Do your best. Everybody's first 50 or 100 songs are terrible, so just do your best to start to learn how to write music. Make sure you record yourself. You should get a basic understanding of recording. Get some software. I use Pro Tools. I've produced and recorded 3 albums. Really important to start recording, and also recording yourself when you practice as well. That way you can tell if you're making any really horrible mistakes and things aren't sounding so good. So that's an important aspect also. Back to getting your gear together. As a professional guitar player, you really have to have your gear together. I need to spend some time on this channel and really talk about gear. But you should have the right guitars for the job, the right amps. If you're doing amp modeling, the right amp modeling. You should learn how pickups work and what all the different effects pedals are. Learn how modulation effects work and distortion pedals and compressors, and understand everything that has to do with what types of woods guitars have. This particular guitar is like a Les Paul style guitar. It's a solid body single cutaway. Like, you should know as much as you can about the gear, not just as a gear nerd like we all are, and not just to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. I mean, I've probably got $5 billion worth of guitar gear in this room. It's not about that. It's about being able to use the gear and use them as tools for the job at hand. Use them as tools for the things you need them for at the moment. Every single thing in my professional world has a place and it has a purpose. So I really don't buy gear unless I'm going to use it. And the stuff that I have, I've tried my very best to learn to use it to its fullest potential. Back to the business side of things. As a professional guitar player, you have to learn how to run your own business. There's no two ways about it. I actually have 2 official companies that are my life's work. I have my own lesson studios, which have currently 12 employees. We have guitar lessons, piano lessons, drum lessons, voice lessons, you name it. There's 2 different studio locations, and it's an ongoing operation that's happening all the time. It's happening right now. Somebody's teaching lessons right now while I'm making this video. I also have another corporation, which is for CD sales and for gigs and for YouTube stuff and for lesson course stuff and affiliate marketing. You got to learn how the business side of things work. You can buy books on it. You can study. There's so much to learn about this, but you got to get your feet wet and try to start to figure out how you can do this as your job. And again, there's a video on the channel about how to be a professional guitar player. And I kind of go into some of these aspects, so you might want to check that out. As a professional guitar player, you also have to be concerned with your web presence these days. You have to have web clout. Get us following on YouTube. For example, please subscribe if you haven't already. Following on Instagram, you can make professional official websites. I have drewbentley.com, drewbentleysongs.com, Bentley and Muto Professional Music Lessons. That's the business. It's also Irwin School of Music and PT School of Music. So there's all these different websites, the Main Street Music website, bringing in traffic and business into my world. It's taken me, there's so many more too, I'm forgetting things like Reverb Nation. There's so many different avenues. It's taken me years and years and years to keep building this web presence, putting music online, content, getting interviews with different magazines, getting on the radio, your songs on the radio, getting album reviews, getting newspaper articles written about you. Like, you don't seek that, but when it happens, you can maximize it and use it to your advantage, and it can be online kind of forever. Like, it stays there forever, and that's a good thing in this particular instance, because then you get more web presence, which helps to build the machine. We're trying to build a brand here. Like, ultimately, as a professional guitar player these days, you're as much a brand as you are a player, for better or for worse. So you have to kind of keep that mentality when you're trying to do your thing. And now, as promised, I'm going to talk about general tips for all guitar players when it comes to practicing. First and foremost, make sure you get the guitar in your hands every single day. It's better to practice for 15 minutes a day than it is to practice for 4 hours on one day a week. Just get it in your hands, try to play it, And chances are, if you pick it up for 10 minutes, it's going to end up being a half an hour or longer because it's so enjoyable. You're going to want to keep playing it. So make sure you pick it up every day. Maybe secondly, most important is do what excites you. Now, I know I talked about a lot of structure here and things to work on, but you should be making sure you're working on things that excite you. And that's where sort of the style aspect comes into. Like you want to find things that you like and chase the things that you like. That's how you develop your own voice on the guitar. You decide what you want to play, and the things you don't want to play, you just don't do them. So you can kind of build your own style through what excites you. You don't always have to practice everything every single day. Kind of just work on what you want to work on within reason. Satisfaction versus gratification. It's still really gratifying for me to play a G chord, but satisfaction means getting something accomplished, like getting an A on a test. So try to get some work done first before you start noodling and screwing around. In my world, if I'm not working on something, there's probably a problem. So when I find myself having too much fun, I realize that I'm goofing off and I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not creating content, or I'm not furthering a cause. Somebody said to me once that everything you do on the guitar, you're doing it because you're getting paid for it. And that's sort of the reality as a professional guitar player. But even as an amateur or as a hobbyist, you want to make sure you're growing. So make sure you work on something along with playing and having fun. You practice so that you can play. You play what you practiced. So make sure you practice so you have more things to play. If I played basketball against LeBron James, like, I understand the game. I played basketball in high school. He would crush me and probably break my face. We're playing the same game, but we're not playing anywhere near the same level. So that's why you want to practice so you can level up. It's really, really important to use a metronome. I'm going to have some videos on the channel about how to do that, but get your metronome out and work on your timing. Practice with a metronome so you can get really strong, solid timing. As I mentioned before, it's important to record yourself, whether it's getting recording software and making albums or tracks or whatever, or just record yourself with your phone and listen back and be critical, but not too critical, about your playing, and you'll know what you're doing wrong, and you can see if you're not as good as you thought you were, or maybe you're better than you thought you were. Joe Negri once said to me that never as bad as you thought you were, but you're never as good as they say you are. So you want to kind of work on listening to yourself. So you have to record yourself to be honest with how well you play. There's a video on the channel about, I think it's like the 7 ways to sound better on the guitar. So check that out. That's one of the suggestions, along with the metronome as well. It's also really important to get out and play with other people. Find people who play better than you, who know more than you, and get together and play with them, whether it's a jam session or just in somebody's basement. The more you play with other people, the more you'll learn. Plus, it's really fun to share this with other people anyways. It's a communal thing. We're not supposed to be sitting in a room recording a video all by yourself. It's a good thing to start with some riffs and some snippets. Learn small parts of songs first before you try to play the entire song. If you're first starting out, don't pressure yourself too much. You can learn the fun riffs first and then build on that. Pay attention to chord progressions. Not just learning songs, but pay attention to the way the chords work within the songs. That's sort of the key to understanding how to write songs and how songs are functioning, and it'll help you to learn songs more quickly. Practice play dynamic. Make sure you're practicing more than you're playing, or at least the same amount, and make sure you practice before you play. Dinner before dessert. It's important to listen proactively. When you're listening to your favorite music, listening to other guitar players, pay attention to what is going on in the music, whether it's theoretically, it's the tones they're getting, the equipment they're using, the techniques they're using, the orchestration, the arrangement, the production. I mean, there's so many different levels we can use to learn just by listening alone. So start listening with the purpose of learning and seeing how other people are doing it, and make it fun, but you can learn so much by listening. And last but not least, of course, watch the videos on this channel. I've been teaching guitar for about 26 years, and I'm trying to give back from all the lessons I've taught, probably like 100,000 lessons, sitting in a room with a student, one-on-one, watching their progress or lack of progress, and their suffering, and trying to figure out how to make this easier for people to get better at guitar more quickly and to have a greater and broader understanding of the instrument, and basically to fall in love with it like I have, to love the guitar so much that you just practice without somebody making you practice, or you don't have to remind yourself to practice. Like, you just can't wait to play the guitar the next time you play it. Like, it's always calling my name, basically every single day, all day. When I'm not playing guitar, I'm usually watching videos about guitar or just thinking about guitar. So hopefully you'll fall in love with the guitar like I have. There's tons of lessons on the channel on all these topics, so please look around. Thanks.